Heartily welcome everyone to this annual meeting 2014 at my offices this time. I'm happy to greet you all here. The formal session before we go on the boat trip is as seen here. We have the approval of the summons and the agenda, election of one representative to sign the minutes together with the chair, being me, approval of the accounts and annual report, election of members to the board of the NRCC, and any other business. Are there any comments to the summons? Thank you. No. Election of one representative to sign on, together with myself. I suggest Katarina Sæterstad. Any other suggestions? Thank you. And then we start off by the more sort of the contents part of the session. Jarle, please.
Yeah, thank you. And 2013, their members has been an active year as always for the NRCC. And of course, the members are in focus. And 2013, in such aspect, was a very profitable year with having 29 new members. Maybe you can't see them all. But surely this will be posted also on our website because it's slightly unclear here. But 2013 was a good year, and certainly the 2014 has not started that good because the political situation as such has hampered our recruitment. However, we are finding measures to remedy that, we do hope. And members are in focus. These are the geographical locations, more or less, if you see, from NRCC members in Norway, with then the eastern part of Norway, Østlandet, being the main solid one, and also then western part, mainly Rogaland, as the central one. But forget not, northern Norway, 25% of the Norwegian members coming from that area. However, as you know, the board has focused on, in the strategy reports last year, on having more Russians recruited and also Russians in the board of the NRCC. And this was the situation by the end of last year, with Moscow with 12 Russian registered members, 10 in St. Petersburg, Murmansk 5. But a slight increase to 31, which is good, but it should be more, of course. There are anyway 143 million people in Russia, and we are only 5. So there is a way to go. But if we add also Norwegian members represented in Russia as such, you see Moscow has 22, St. Petersburg 16, and Murmansk 30. So then what have we done? Not to make a long report here, because the annual report and everything will be posted on our website and mailed you. But if you can read it, it's maybe more easily seen on this one. Networking arenas, you all know, as founders and together with us for a very long time, with monthly events in Oslo area. Murmansk, St. Petersburg made it possible through funding from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. We have also last year then initiated the establishment of branch groups, one for food, mainly seafood actually, and with Jan Erik Johnsen, member of the board and representing the Seafood Council as chair of that one, and the branch group for oil and gas, chaired by Insok and Håkon Skretti. In addition, business delegation coming in from Russia. High-level events, as you know, the Norwegian-Russian Business Forum, we had to postpone last year. It was meant to be organized in connection with His Royal Highness, His Majesty's visit scheduled to Russia. That did not take place. And then we were out for beginning of April this year, and we had to postpone it due to the present situation and increased economical exposure for the chamber in that respect. But the board and the council have today discussed this, and we decided to go on further. We will revert certainly to when and how, because there are ongoing discussions regarding that. Then B2B matchmaking, which was launched more or less effectively effectively last year as the main new program. Norwegian-Russian matchmaking, business-to-business part, and young entrepreneurs. Hans Olav Rekdal was employed and running the business-to-business matchmaking program. And that is the short term where we want to match Norwegian and Russian companies rapidly and hopefully so that they can prosper and further develop. And it's cross-sectorial, facilitating trade and investments, concerns Northwestern District of Russian Federation and Moscow region as prime areas, and it concerns whole Norway. Those of you who have been together with us for a while, you know that we started with such a matchmaking program up north, and very soon we realized that we need to bring the whole of Norway into this program if we shall be able to bring in solid and interested companies into this bilateral development. So Hans Olav has a hands-on development and using the bilateral networks, including you and your networks as well, with the aim then of creating more MOU between the two parties. And very important is then, of course, what do the customers say? Are they happy with this, or is it only a number of MOUs? And here is one of them stated voluntarily. I would like to underline that I worked and lived in Russia in a business person for 20 years, and these results are far beyond my expectations. That says Jonny Strømvold. So he is continuing. And for the Russian side, I would like to bring forward this man, who is now to Selmer, Kazani, and General Director of Mage. And he says that through our participation in MMP, we have managed to establish new contacts in Norway and find new partners. Our company is grateful to NRC and for excellent and sufficient work, and look forward to further effective cooperation. So that's an important player in the north, and we are glad to bring his name and their expressions forward to you. We have established, we have signed 18 MOUs between partners in 2013. That was also the target, so that's good. Working this year for reaching the same. However, we are facing, of course, challenging in the present situation, and but we think anyway that we have some solutions to be able to bring more of this cooperation further. The second part is young entrepreneurs. Most of you know what it's all about, but it is bringing in younger generation into the bilateral business development between our two countries by presenting business casing to 120 Norwegian and Russian young entrepreneurs, yes, third, fourth grade students, and realizing then and discussing how to develop both entrepreneurship but also mutual knowledge about market and market opportunities. And here you're seeing the groups which then existed in 2013, which have now been accomplished. It was the Arkangelsk Ålesund group where Rolls-Royce Marine presented the major business case, and thanks to Sveinung Giske and his efforts in this respect, it was tremendous. When you get the annual report, you will see also that Sveinung was satisfied with this initiative. Norwegian-Tromsø Group, the Sparebanken Nord-Norge, presented the business case related to fish farming, and Moscow Pode Group was Statoil, was the one presenting a business case. So now our employees have carried out interviews for session 2, I would call it, or starting now in September, and huge interest, knowledgeable young people, and it's this generation we need to stimulate to further develop bilateral business relations. And one of them is here tonight also, Hans Herman Kjønn, so you can talk with him on the boat. Big support from the consulate generals and the embassy in Norway. Here you see Mr. Leif Damtvedt handing over diplomas on the third session. Here some photos from the Norwegian-Tromsø Group. and the Consul General Ole Lindemann and his staff, and because there were time also for some sightseeing. And then our big friend, Sveinung Giske, and member of the board in Ålesund. In this concept, we are cooperated with a lot of institutions, universities in Norway and in Russia. And it's not, we are having the same regions this second session, but in the third one, we will change this slightly because it is not stated that it has to be Murmansk, Arkhangelsk, Moscow. Because it's also a region, and I'm looking at you, named St. Petersburg, Leningrad, where such events can also be implemented. I mentioned the two branch groups, here you see it, but then certainly one of the yellow balloons you saw, circles, is also then keeping up the relations with the officials. And last year it was an active year with both the Economic Commission, with both meetings in the working group for shipbuilding in St. Petersburg in the middle here, and also reactivation of the working group for regional development and cooperation. Also that taking place in St. Petersburg, and we took part in them all. But of course you all remember, although it's slightly into 2014, solid visit of His Royal Highness Crown Prince Haakon to St. Petersburg in occasion of the opening of Jotun's painting factory. And here you see our Consul General and His Royal Highness looking at the seafood, marvelous seafood table presented in the Ethnographical Museum. We had one part, networking event, where we discussed investments and maritime opportunities. INSOC had their workshop, and Innovation Norway Tourism had theirs. So in total, 350 persons, and some 450 at the reception. During 2013, we have also spent, unfortunately, it takes its time, much on the new website, but at least now it has improved, and we think it's representative enough, and we just have to develop further as we get resources and time. Then news and views, regularly information to members about what's going on. During 2013, we organized and got into closer cooperation with the Gaidar Institute, and you are receiving those reports. Katarina Smetanina ended her work for us in June last year. So, and Rune, our new communications manager, Rune Meti, started only in November. So we had a test period after Katarina quit it, and it costs money when they are not longer working for you. So we have now a new concept, hopefully to be approved by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, of production of a Norwegian-Russian business journal. We expect decisions regarding this very soon. I mentioned the NRBF, but this is the main headlines of the NRBF. It's the fourth one we are planning then to organize. And as mentioned, the board and the council find that we should continue this, and that we certainly will do. But 2013 was also a year where we worked much on changing the wording from sponsorship to partnership. Sponsors, it's mentioned, is more of an event than being a partner and a long-term developer of the NRCC. And these are then the partners today, and we are certainly open for more partners all year around. And we hope certainly to bring in more, because it's not it's an important part. Our budgets are low, I will come back to that later on. But before I do that, let's see have a short look at the export. Well, all the way since 1993, developing the positive way, slightly dip here, but not so much increase. And we know 80% about of this export is seafood. And all the paint you have exported from Jotun, from England to St. Petersburg, and from whatever, are not into these figures. So the actual export from Norway to the Russian market as such is much bigger, of course. And that is something we should look into, has been mentioned by the board previously too, and because that is something which really we need to bring forward to our authorities as well. When it looked at import from Russia, then it's on a down scale, and it's more oil and oil products. So we have the same challenge today as we had when I was commercial counselor in the beginning of the 90s, namely lack of diversification. So there's certainly enough to work with for all of us. These are the figures. However, they are not. They are placing, I think, Russia as on the 13th, 14th place of the most important exporting countries, trading countries of Norway. Investments, I shall not do too much about that, but we have to mention one of the larger ones. And because you see the government pension fund global competing with Telenor regarding largest investments, etc. But the portfolio by the end of 2013 had a value of 22 billion, which was down 13%. We are not authorities, so we cannot go into all these figures. We can only pick what we see on their websites. But in addition, about the same amount in bonds. So investments, more than 40 billion in the Russian market. And not strange that much are related to oil and gas, certainly. Then the results. And if we start with the member fee revenues, slightly increase in 2013 from 2012 to 1.8 million. And at the same time, without sponsor contributions, we certainly would be only 1.5% in this chamber. That's the hard facts. And but they have decreased considerably. So that is a challenge for all of us if we want to engage in more and broader activities. And but nonetheless, we have to thank our sponsors, and I call them sponsors because that was the previous nomination. Throughout all these years, NSG, Telenor is the sure winner from the very beginning, and Selmer, Exportfinans, etc. So here we would like certainly more to join in, and we have kept the reserve fund, which Thomas and Reidar Karlsen played a significant role in bringing in this at the time in 2006, where it was not much left. But we are on 2.1 million after having spent some to improvement of websites and streaming of networking meetings in accordance with the rules and regulations of the reserve fund, namely to make use of these for improvements for members. When it comes to operating revenues, last year shows a figure of 8 million. That is due to a solid increase, of course, from compared to 2012. It's to do with the young entrepreneurship and matchmaking programs, because the Ministry of Foreign Affairs granted us 18 million kroner for a 3-year period in 2012. And in 2013, we had only one training session of these young entrepreneurs. So for 2014, there will be even a bigger increase. Operating costs also increasing, having one person more employed, running the matchmaking concept, and the result, operating revenue, minus 4,000, but due to financial revenues, we end up with a positive result of 49,000. Is this good or bad? Well, the point is that we are an NGO. If we have too big profits, that's wrong. If it's a negative result, that's also not good. Then, all in all, we managed to bring it all through. And looking at the other revenues, seminars, courses, in 2013, various sponsors, has been mentioned previously, other project revenues, and other revenues. And all this shows that we have, of course, become much more dependent upon projects obtained through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Norway. I think only 27% now of our total revenues are coming from fees and sponsorship. But as it's stated in the board as well, we are an NGO, so it's allowed to apply for projects and bring this forward when it is to the benefit of our members and to the development of our bilateral business relation with the Russian Federation. Equity 2.6. Yeah, you can only see it here. And it's a little bit pity, it's so unclear. But I would like to finalize my short intervention here then with reminding you about this opportunity. Now, you guys here in this room are those who are qualified and don't need to go on this trip, but you know some others. Because we are running this program this year for NHO, Confederation of Norwegian Enterprise. It's free of charge. It is to St. Petersburg, interesting region. And 1 week learning about doing business in the Russian Federation. So remember it and tell some of your friends. And because we all need to unite together now to get this further on. But that concludes the report, and Olesia is posting this tomorrow on and Rune on the website, and you are mailed as well the report. Allow me to say that the auditor, Ernst & Young, have approved the accountancy without any remarks. And unfortunately, it is in Norwegian, but we will see to have it translate hopefully as well. So, dear Chairman, that is all I had to say.
Thank you, Jarle. And then the big question after this quick run through of the accounts and other things leads to whether there are any objections to the annual accounts for 2013. No comments, thank you so much. Then I will turn on to the election of the board of the NRCC. Basically, as you know, board members are elected for a 2-year period. So we rotate people every year. And this year, the following are on election. It's myself, Tor Halvorsen, Telenor, Harald Martinsen, Sydvanger, Gruve, Tatjana Sadyrina, Tor Olof Andersen, Sveinung Giske, Svein Åge Dahl, Olsen. And the rest are not in election. Jan Erik Olsen, Erik Velle Vatne, Bjørn Selius, Olav Rygg, Katarina Setterstad, Viktor Lisesko, Leonid Sugurchev, and Liv Monica Stubholt. The election committee has consisted of Leonid Sugurchev, welcome Liv Monica, Leonid Sugurchev, Tor Halvorsen, and Liv Monica Stubholt. The proposal is as follows. And let me mention that the election committee were all 3 present when it comes to all recommendations for new board members except for the chair. And Liv Monica and Leonid Sugurchev and Tor Halvorsen was behind the proposal of the new chair, and I will walk you through. On election, wishing re-election, that's important. Myself, elected as then a member of the board. Tor Halvorsen, re-election. Tatjana Sadyrina, re-election. Tor Olof Andersen, re-election. Svein Åge Dahl Olsen, re-election. Those leaving the board are Sveinung Giske, Harald Martinsen. And those not on election but have decided to resign are Jan Erik Jonsson and Olav Einar Rygg. And the new persons suggested as board members are Ingrid Dahl Skarstein. You are here, Ingrid. Thank you. Rolf Fiskerstrand at the back row. Hans van Damon is not present. Ståle Torgersbråten at the back row. Thank you, Ståle. And finally, and not least, the suggested new chair of the board of directors is Liv Monica Stubholt. Are there any comments or other suggestions for the new board? It is not, and I suggest we give the board, and in particular Liv Monica, a hearty welcome. That makes the board look like this. I don't repeat all the names, but it's an extensive board. The reason for why this is not a sort of a 4 or 5 person board is because we feel that the board has not only the operative day-to-day business surveillance authority in a way, which should be exercised, but also it's a contact forum where we can discuss on a broader level various aspects of the activities of the NRCC and obviously the bilateral trade. Thank you. The council is, as you see here, Reidar Karlsen, the chairman, Johan Petter Barlindhaug, Jens B. Heyerdahl, Bengt Lie Hansen, Felix Tschudi is here today. Reidar Karlsen is also here today. I apologize, Reidar. Frode Mellemvik, I apologize again, Svein Ruud, and the board has decided to elect Øyvind Nordsletten, our former ambassador to Russia, Norwegian ambassador to Russia, now living in Bryne, as a new member of the council. Henrik Torgersen and Hans Joachim Horn are leaving the council. So that ends this part of the agenda. Finally, as a few sort of remarks from my side, it's interesting. I've had 11 great years with this organization. I started off at the age of 43, and God knows my age now. This was a startup factory, and these were the members, and the ones in italic are no longer participants, but were very important players when setting up the organization. And you will remember some of the names, and many of you will remember some of the persons behind these companies. We have, from being a startup, I think some years back, we entered into the operational phase of the organization. And many things have happened. Not least did Jarle walk you through what happened last year, but think about the 11 years that have passed and all the events that we have managed to execute and deliver on. And I think we should, as members, all of us should be proud of what has been achieved so far. And the NRCC is actually the leading bilateral chamber of commerce in Norway, and that in itself, that speaks for itself. We have, as Jarle mentioned, discussed, I mean, there are many events. Networking is key to our organization and will continue to be so. And NRBF, the Norwegian-Russian Business Forum, is a high-level event in many ways. We have discussed that thoroughly by the board and the council today, and we will continue. It will be somewhat differently wrapped to improve this further and to become even more attractive. And we wish to do this not in spring 2013, as was said on your slide, but that was kind of some time ago, but we wish to do this ASAP, as soon as possible, and we wish to do it in Moscow, and we wish to make a footprint to state clearly that we should, in these what someone would call challenging times, we should turn that into something positive for the business relationships. What happened to the old board members? Well, there was a slide here, but I can't find it. Well, anyway, no, never mind. But there was a slide somewhere that listed all the board members throughout the years from 2003. And Reidar is here today, vice chairman for many years. There are many of you who have been participating hard and well over a long period of time, and have made this into the success in many ways the NRCC is. I'm extremely grateful to the trust put in me throughout these years. I'm extremely grateful to those having put so much effort and time, not least, into this over such a long period of time. I'm extremely grateful to all the board members having suffered through the meetings together with me and contributed well. I'm pleased also to thank my vice chairman now, Tor Halvorsen, for his contribution over the last few years, and the rest of the group. We are really a good group at the board. I welcome the new board members and wish us all success. I want to read something, and I should finalize by saying I'm extremely grateful to Jarle. You have been the key driver of this for so many years. You took part as kind of a venture partner in the beginning with no salary, just the expected salary. But you stood through that period and have succeeded so well. To end this, I will read my last paragraph in the chairman's note to the last annual report. The NRCC will indefatigably continue our efforts to promote bilateral trade and investments. The NRCC's perspective is long-term. It should not and will not be affected by changing and sometimes challenging political situations. We have been, are, and will continue to be a bilateral chamber of commerce for the operational benefit of businesses in both our countries. And that's the key message from me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Thomas, for all these 11 years. It has been a remarkable cooperation. And certainly we have disagreed, but we have moved forward. And I only wanted to thank you personally now in front of these central members of ours, because we will thank you thoroughly during the Christmas event. And I have then the pleasure to give also the floor and the word to the new chair of the board to do that. So thank you, and it's been a pleasure, and I know that you will continue. So we look forward to further cooperation. And then, yes. Thank you. Then we all invite you to go to the Rådhusbryggen, because this is the end of this part. And we are some 90 persons on board MS Legend, and they are already boarding as we speak, because there is an aperitif. So thank you, and let's move. You want to say so? Yes.
I do indeed. My name is Graham Dyson. I represent Commander today, and I would just like to take the opportunity also on the floor to thank Jarle and the chair and the board for doing such a good job. I'm really quite new in this world, and some of you may know that I'm originally from South Africa. And somebody had said to me when I came to Norway in 1985 that I would one day be representing a Norwegian company in the Norwegian-Russian Chamber of Commerce. I think I would have asked them if they had not enough water with their whiskey. But I and Father will be working very much in Russia in the coming years, also on the long term, and we will do our best to make a positive contribution to this organization. So I just wanted to say that also, especially from the floor, thank you to the chair, thank you to the, I don't know what your position is, Jarle, and to the board for a fine year. Thank you.